Welcome to the Alpha Gal Outdoorsman Podcast, where we talk all things Alpha Gal and all things outdoors. Everything from hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, canoeing, kayaking, jeeping, off-roading, even gardening. I'm your host, Robert Worley. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Alpha Gal Outdoorsman. I am your host, Robert Worley. I got a repeat guest on, my first repeat guest. This is going to be episode 14. I can't hardly believe we're at 14 already. Will Winford's back. Before we get too far into Will, I want to give a quick update. Today is June 15th. I just recorded um, episode 13 on the 12th, a couple of days ago. I set up in the backfield and I recorded that episode. And I said I've been doing very well on reactions and all this and all that. So I'm going to link two things together really fast before I get with Will. And one of them is a reaction that I recently had. And I'm going to reverse the Be More Like Angelo segment. Um, so, we went to Buckeye Country Fest. Our kids got us Christmas present, got us tickets to Buckeye Country Fest. Um, the show starts at 2 o'clock. Tyler Childers was headlining. He comes on at 9. So to put that together, he played till almost 11 o'clock. That's 9 hours to be in that stadium, right? So um, we we went. I made sure that I ate clean going in before I went. I walk in and the area we came in, and I'm not super fume reactive. I'm not. I walk in and the smell of cheeseburgers was incredible. I mean, gosh, man, I wanted one so bad. They smelled good, but I'm usually not fume reactive at all. And I'm not even sure that if that's what got me. But about 3 hours later, I started itching bad. I got a telltale sign on my forearm. When my forearm starts itching, I'm on my way to a reaction, and it got extreme. It got worse than it has ever gotten. As far as, I mean, my forearm, I was digging it to pieces, but my skin got set on fire, back of my neck, all over, all the things. And I'm over 4 years into this. I know what my body needed, and I needed water. The only water, the only bottled water that you can buy at the shoe in Columbus, Ohio is Dasani water. And I walked around and I looked, there was water fountains. Um, but I needed some water. I needed some good cold ice water. Um, I finally found where they had a fountain, a big long fountain alongside the wall. Um, and they would sell these refillable cups, right? So I went up, said, I need a water. They said, well, the Dasani. I'm like, I can't drink Dasani. Uh, I got me one of them. I got me one of them cups. All right. I wasn't concerned about the price at the time. Right. So I got there was some people with us, and I'm picking a few things up, right? So I got a box of popcorn, which is $6.50. I got one beer for my wife, which I'm not sure they was like $6 or $7, and I got that cup for water and ice, and my bill was $36. That refillable cup, all I needed was water. I needed water because I was having a reaction and I was having a doozy. I needed water in my system ASAP, and it cost me over $20 for a cup that I could get ice water in. So this segment of Be More Like Angelo is this is the going the other way. I usually give credit where credit is due. I am slamming Ohio State at the horseshoe because you guys suck for selling Dasani water and then charging me $25 or whatever you charge me for a cup. To I almost had to leave early. And fortunately, I did spend the $25. I got the ice water and I just started chugging, 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 chugging. I didn't want to take no Benadryl or none of the things because, we all know that's just going to ruin our night. So, Ohio State, you need to do better. We spent a lot of money. Well, my kids, Merry Christmas, spent a lot of money on them tickets. And for me to go up there and have that happen is you need to be more like Angelo. So without any further ado, I got my rant out of the way, Will. So without any further ado, my buddy Will Winford here, rock climber from Kentucky, is back on. Will has had some health issues that has been related back to his tick bite. And instead of me trying to tell you what's happening, I'm just going to turn it over to Will. Will, how are you doing, buddy?
Great. I'm sorry to hear that, your reaction, man. And that $25 water, that's ridiculous.
Can
That's
you
a
believe
no.
$25 for a water? And here's the thing: is I tried carrying that daggone cup around the rest of the night, just protecting that thing for all
Right.
it was worth.
The goal.
But I did get, and it was probably like a 20 ounce, big gulp
Mm.
or whatever. I pounded them dudes. I mean, I got 3 or 4 waters run into my system, and about an hour, I cleared up. My arm was still itching, but the rest of my body lightened up, and I still got to enjoy the show. But it
Okay.
was so heart wrenching, man, knowing I needed water, and I get
Right.
over there and it's Dasani. I was like, no way, no way.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad you're still able to enjoy the show, and that's awesome. I'm jealous. Tyler Childers is awesome.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but
So, Will, um, when we talked last time, man, you was still on top of the world. You had alpha gal, or you have alpha gal,
yep.
but you're like me. You really did learn how to control it well, and
Mhm.
um, you was doing well. And then since then, you've had some surprises. First off, let's talk about what your diagnosis is and what it's called, and then let's back up to some symptoms
Mhm.
and leading up into how you discovered. How's that?
Sure. It's called cardiac psychosis, and psychosis is a disease that it's a multi-organ disease. It can attack anything from your skin to your bone marrow to your liver to your lungs to your heart to your brain to your spinal cord. I mean, just about anything. It's a disease where it sends your immune system into overdrive and it creates these granulomas, almost like tumors, in your liver, lungs, and it can do it to your heart too as well. Pretty much all your organs. And I have granulomas or tumor-like things in my liver. I have one in my liver. I have like 6 or 7 in my lungs, and it spread to my heart uh, here
Okay,
here recently.
so it's called cardiac psychordosis.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I said that right. Now, but this is 100% linked back to your tick bite. Yes.
Well, that's what I was kind of saying. I believe yes, 100%.
Okay.
Now, it took them 20 years to link cardiac psychosis to Lyme's disease, right? Um, and we don't have 20 years. So if cardiac psychosis is linked to Lyme's disease, and I've had test after test after test of Lyme's disease tests, I mean blood tests, blood drawn, everything, and they all come back negative for Lyme's
Okay.
disease. I get
So
tested for Lyme's when I get
yeah. So,
tested for.
so real quick, just I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just trying to be real clear here. So,
Yeah.
when you say we don't have 20 years, you mean if you get cardiac psychosis, you don't have 20 years unless you get diagnosed and they know what it is to treat. Correct?
Correct, but we don't have 20 years as in the sense that they can't, there's no medical diagnosis that said there is one for Lyme. So if you get Lyme's, you have Lyme's induced cardiac psychosis. They don't have that
Okay.
for alpha gal, so they don't have alpha gal induced cardiac psychosis.
Oh, all
Uh,
right. Okay.
so there's not that specific link. So I can't say 100% that it was, but I can say I'm just, and I got to preface this too with some of the information that I have. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical profession. I can't, give medical advice. I can only speak to my experience, what's
Right.
happened to me in my timeline.
But you don't have Lyme. You
I
don't
don't
have
have
Lyme.
Lyme,
Yeah.
100%.
So So it's almost like 50-50 and 50% you taking off the table. So we're looking at you got bit by a tick, caused you alpha gal syndrome. So we're
Mhm.
pretty sure that's where it come from.
Correct. Yeah, because like we spoke about previous, like I got bit 2020 around 2020, 2021. I got formally diagnosed. I was had it beforehand though because I was having a reaction. And it wasn't until probably 2022, around there, 2022, 2023, I started showing symptoms of um like I was having issues with my lungs, lung distress after the liver thing. So, I went through the whole fatty liver,
Yeah.
my liver enzymes being up,
Yeah.
uh, which led me to NAC and Glynac supplementation, which then I started having lung problems. And I've had lung problems kind of my whole entire life. So they really didn't bat an eye or try to, I didn't connect it back to my alpha gal at that point
Right.
because I was
Right.
like, oh, it's just my asthma, right?
Yeah.
My asthma is kicking up, and I just need to start taking more medication. So my allergist, said, hey, start taking one antihistamine in the morning, one at night, and Benadryl when it gets bad. So I was, when I started listing out all the antihistamines, I was telling, the cardiac doctor that I was taking. He was like,
Yeah.
stop.
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back. So you knew you had a fatty liver. You and I've had that conversation before. You knew you
Yep.
had a fatty liver. But where did the symptoms start? And give us a rundown of like, we know the fatty liver was first. That was the first thing you detected. But where did we go? What was the symptoms like? And how long did you go through these symptoms before the doctor was like, we're getting close, or they got it figured out?
I went through it for a long time up until recently. So, like I said, it was probably end of 2022, 2023 is when I got diagnosed with uh, psychosis in my lungs. And I was having problem breathing. So, pretty much similar to um, asthma, where I was having difficulty breathing, coughing, congestion, just overall, I mean, it felt like allergies and asthma, but year round. I had no relief other than inhaled steroids, and as albuterol with inhaled steroids would give me some sort of relief for about 10, 20, half an hour, and then I'd
That
be
was
right back to it.
okay. So lungs
And,
is where it started.
so, yep.
Um, and what? So the doctors, but they was treating you for whatever at this point in time. They hadn't had quite figured out yet, correct?
Correct. Yeah, and there was no treatment because this is one of those disease where there's no cure. There is a treatment, but the treatment that I'm on now, they don't really like to put you on because it has so many side effects, right?
Yeah, sure.
So if it's just in your lungs and you're not progressing to the point where your blood oxygen is dropping,
Yeah.
significant, then they kind of hold off on treatment. And I wasn't at that point, so the only thing they were doing for me was a CT scan once to twice a year with
Yeah.
contrast. So they shoot you up with a radioactive iodine, and they take a picture of your lungs and make sure that the nodules haven't gotten any bigger.
Okay.
So I had about 3 or 4 centimeter and a half going down my uh, where you if you think about your lungs as an upside down tree, it's right where that first splits off is where your lymph
Okay.
nodes are. So my lymph nodes were very enlarged, and I also had 3 to 4 centimeter and a half inside my lungs too as well.
I got you.
And that stayed, you know, a pretty benign diagnosis up until recently, until I was having you know my blood oxygen started dropping, and I
Did,
ended
did
up.
they know it was psychordosis at that point in time?
They suspected it, but it's one of those.
Okay.
It's such a rare disease, and it doesn't normally affect male Caucasians. It
Okay.
affects typically female African descendants
Yeah.
first, then
Okay.
males, then I believe some Eastern European descent. But for me, they were like, this is, they didn't think, they first thought it was lung cancer. So I had a biopsy done. So it came back not lung cancer. So they're like, well, it's not lung cancer. It's probably sarcoidosis, but there's not really a way for us to tell without being really intrusive. So it's one of those things where it's like it's not cancer, it's probably that, but we'll put it on the back burner for now because and we'll just keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
And they had been keeping an eye on it up until um, around, and it happened before our episode. But again, I didn't connect the dots then. I
Oh,
didn't.
and just for listener sake, you was on in late February or early March, episode 4. So
Yeah.
you knew this was happening before then, but you hadn't put anything together.
No, and that's kind of why I didn't bring it up. I went right before my trip to Mexico that we talked about.
Yep. Yep.
I went and got my hair cut, and I was getting my hair cut, and all of a sudden, man, I got real sweaty. And I don't sweat normally, so I'm not a real sweaty person.
Yeah.
Boy, it was like somebody took a garden hose to me, and I looked down at my Garmin watch and I noticed my heart rate was like 130, 140, 160, 170.
Oh,
And I'm sitting down getting my hair cut. And I just said, stop, stop cutting my hair. I stood out of the chair. I made it about 4 feet and collapsed on the ground.
holy shit. Holy,
Made it
holy wow. Yeah.
made it to a chair. Um, and at this point, it did look like somebody took a garden hose. My pants were saturated. My shirt was saturated. I got sweat dripping off my nose. And there was a paramedic there. And he comes over to me, starts taking my pulse. He looks at my watch. My pulse at this point is 28, 30.
Yeah.
Um, and
28. So your heart rate was, did it slow? Is that right?
so it crashed. It went from like 170 to all the way down to the 30s.
Okay. All right.
And I went to the doctor, and they're just like, they took my my blood, my labs, all my, magnesium, all my, electrolytes and stuff like that, and my, and they basically just patted me on the head and said, you're a healthy adult. Your all your labs are good. You probably had a viscous nerve issue or incident, and that caused you to pass out. And
That kind of makes me mad too, just thinking. Yeah.
and yeah, and it pat me on my head, send me on my way. And you know, I'm like, I don't think that's it. But, I just went along my way. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not a medical expert, and I push back a lot with the doctors that frustrate them, but I can only frustrate them so much, I don't.
Right. Right.
So
They want you to leave. It's hard to, yeah, it's hard to do anything about it. So was this the beginning of the cardiac psychordosis?
yeah,
This is the
and
beginning of you discovering it, right?
yep.
Okay.
And I got on the plane to Puerto Rico, and I started having what's called PVCs, preventricular contractions.
Well, you're going to
And
explain that.
so the best way I can explain it is it feels like somebody punching me in the chest because your heart, it pumps from one chamber to the next, and that's how it moves blood through your body, right?
Okay. All right.
And a preventricular contraction is where I believe both parts of the heart try to contract at the same time,
Yeah.
and then it just like a pump, it can't continue, so it stops for a second or two and then restarts, and then it does that. It did it again and again and again. So it was like every other heartbeat was one of these PVCs,
Uh,
preventricular contractions.
was you on a plane?
I was sitting on the tarmac.
Holy wow.
And I didn't. My wife's next to me, and we're getting ready to go to Puerto Rico. We have our buddies behind us, going on the same
Yeah.
climbing trip. And I don't, you know, hindsight's 2020, but I don't want to look over her. The plane's taxiing out onto the
Yeah.
tarmac. I don't want to say, I think I'm having a heart attack, because I had that issue, you know,
Yeah.
uh, and the get my hair cut before Mexico. And that was about a month or 3 weeks before, and I was like, I just didn't want to be like, turn that plane around and go back just because it's some Vesco's nerve thing or whatever.
Right.
I flew down to Puerto Rico and I just thought, maybe it'll go away, whatever. And it was the entire time I was in Puerto Rico. It was like every other heartbeat. Um, and up until the point where I get back and I call a cardiologist and an electrophysiologist, which they do the basically your heart beating. So you got two. I didn't know this is stuff I just been learning. This has been a learning journey. You got a couple different flavors of cardiologists. You got your main cardiologist, and then you got electrophysiologists that deal with the rhythm and the beating and the electrical signals. And I went to him, and we were just talking for a while, and I was he put a Holter monitor on me, 48-hour Holter monitor, just basically
Yeah.
monitors your heart rhythm.
Yeah.
And at that point they stopped, obviously. When you get the dang thing on you,
That's the way
it
it
goes.
works. Yeah.
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 But it still showed a 6% burden, which is, not significant. But it's not low. So he's like, you do have a 6% burden, but we don't treat 6%. I said, well, if it was on me about a week ago, it'd have been 70.
What so when you say 6% burden, it's like a blood clot or something. It's like that's
It's like if you were to take all your heartbeats in a given 24 hours, it would have been 6% of my heartbeats for 24
oh,
hours.
okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why they say a 6% burden. Um, and he's like, well, we don't treat that. There's nothing really wrong with you. All your labs are good.
Here
You're
we
fine.
go again.
Yep. And he's
Yeah.
about ready. He's a great doctor. I can't talk bad about him at all. But um, I was just like, I think there's something more to this, right? And I was like, you know, I was sitting and getting my hair cut about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and I collapsed. And I got better on my own, because my wife came pick me up, didn't go to the hospital. Wife came pick me up, went home, slept it off. Worst idea ever.
Worst idea ever. Yeah.
um, and he goes, okay, well, there's a little bit more to the story. My wife's sitting beside me. She goes, well, about a year ago, we were on the plane to Puerto Rico, or not plane to go to Ireland. Same thing happened. I completely forgot about this. I was on a plane ride to Ireland halfway through. Same thing. Sweat, boom, bam, out. Wife thought I was sleeping. I was passed out next to her. So I was like, so this isn't the first time this has happened. I was like, no. I was like, he's like, well, we could do a cardiac MRI, but they cost a lot. I said, I don't care.
Let's
Let's
get
do
it
it.
done.
Let's
Yeah.
get it done. So they scheduled the cardiac MRI. I first had to go through an echocardiogram before I could get the MRI. That came
Yeah.
back clean. No blockage, no arterial blockage, which we'll get into that here in a bit too.
Okay.
Um, and uh, no major issues. Move on to the cardiac MRI. I have the cardiac MRI. Um, and in the meantime, I'm attacking this from every angle. I'm going down to see one of the best doctors, lung doctors, on in the East Coast. He specializes in psychosis. I knew, I'm starting to connect dots at this point.
Yeah.
So I already made an appointment for him. So I'm down at a hotel for the next day, get ready to go see that doctor for the pulmonary sarcoidosis, and I get the MRI results back, and the MRI results say significant inflammation in the right atrial part of your heart, um, possible, if not very likely, active sarcoidosis. But they can't tell it it's active. They just saw like my heart was so inflamed that it was having issues beating.
Yeah.
And basically, how it was described to me is you've got these electrical pathways in your heart that are used to send the pulses for your heart to beat. And as your heart gets inflamed, it gets harder and harder for those signals to make it to your heart. And
Okay.
my heart was basically getting beat. and
Yeah.
so um, I have that uh, doctor's visit with him. He's like, well, the only way to see if it's active is to have a PET scan. Um, and I don't wish this on anybody. PET scans are not fun. You have to fast for 48 hours. Before that, you can only have like salted chicken because they say, oh, well, you can eat fatty foods, right? You can eat chicken or steak covered in butter.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're listing out all these foods, that you can eat that don't have carbs in them. So they're trying to starve your body of carbs.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
basically, which carnivore diet with butter. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that
I'm out.
basically
Yeah.
that leaves me. You can't use garlic either. You got to use salt, pepper. So I basically ate hard boiled eggs with and chicken with salt and pepper on it, cooked plain for a few days beforehand. Fasted for 48. Went in there. It's about a 7 hour test. They start with first shooting you up with a radioactive iodine, putting you in this big scanner. Then you wait. Then they take you out of that. You have to wait for another 2 to 3 hours for that to clear out of your system. You still can't eat. Then they shoot you up with another radioactive iodine. They put you in another scanner and scan that. And basically, with those two images combined,
Hold on.
it
Let's before you go too far. Let me. Did you have to research all this stuff they shot you up with, like this iodine?
Yep.
Yeah. So you needed
So,
to know it was mammal free.
mhm.
Was it, or did you have to search and find the kind they could shoot you up with? How did that go?
So that's very. I'm glad you asked that question because that's a great question. Um, the University in Kentucky has gone beyond what I've ever had with a doctor and a pharmacist. They just don't prescribe you something and send you off to the wind, right?
Yeah.
They
Okay.
had a pharmacist come in, sit down with me, and go over each and every medication that I have, and that he showed me a site called Pill Clarity.
I've seen that site. Okay.
And Pill Clarity, what they do is they take what's called the NDC, the National Drug Code. And if you have that NDC, you can send it to pillclarity.org and they will tell you whether or not it has mammal ingredients. Not only that, you can take your entire medication list and give it to them, and they will find alternatives for you that do not have uh,
Oh, very
mammal
good.
ingredients in them. And
So,
this,
so this dye, you done that? I'm assuming.
yep.
Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So after this well, in the middle of this, I'm at this point, I've connected the dots. I've talked to the doctors. And basically what we've come up with was no doctor knows the immune system 100%.
Okay.
If they do, they're lying. Don't go to them. Um,
Okay.
and with my alpha gal, my IgE score has been greater than 100.
It's
Like,
over 100.
yeah,
Like one.
it
Like
has the little sign. 100.
Yes. Are you okay? That's big. All right.
So it's a class six, whatever. But it's dropped a little bit. It's cyclical. It's gone down to 60, back up to 80, down the 60,
Okay.
but mostly it's the last time I got tested was 100. Um, and what they're saying, because you know, I just thought, and I think we talked about this previous, but on the other podcast, but unless I ate meat, I wasn't like you. Like I wasn't having the reactions to micro. I was still taking all my medications with magnesium stearate or lactose in them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was still eating Chipotle with cheese and
Yeah.
sour cream, and I was
Yeah.
like, I was still doing everything I shouldn't have. But
Yeah.
other than upset stomach and all that other stuff, I just kind of fought through it. I never thought, this could be building up to something,
Yeah.
and
Right.
keeping
Right.
my immune system so activated that it's now basically targeting everything else.
Uh, um, I definitely want to get back to this um, because I think this raises a good point that a lot of people don't consider when it comes to, oh, my body doesn't react. Well, you don't know it doesn't react. You just are not feeling it.
Right.
Okay. So I want to get back to this. I'm going to write this down, but let's go back to the doctor. You got pumped full of stuff and he runs the test on you.
Yep.
Let's pick back up right
Yep.
there.
So after, after the PET scan, a couple days later, I get a call from my doctor down at University of Kentucky, and he called me from his personal cell phone as soon as he got the results, and he said, "I'm sorry, but your heart lit up like a Christmas tree." He's like, "You've got active psychosis in your heart, and without treatment, I've already lost." I think he said three people within the past 12 months to this.
Wow.
He's like, I don't want you to be the fourth. You need to start treatment now.
Now,
So
okay.
he's like, I've called in the medications for you. They're waiting at the pharmacy for you. Go get them. Start taking them. Um, Not too long after that, my other electrophysiologist calls me. He says, you have active psychosis in your heart. You need a um, basically a internal I it's called an ICD, internal cardiac defibrillator. Um, and those come in a few different flavors. You got TICD, which is transvenous. You got sub SICD, which is it goes underneath your skin,
Hmm.
um, on your on your side, and then they've got a new ICD out called the EV-ICD.
Now
Uh,
this is like what they get for like AFib, correct? I mean,
yep.
my dad has that. He's I feel like he's had to wear one of those for a while up until he had his ablation. So it's the same thing, right?
Well, no, you don't wear it. It's actually implanted in your
Well,
body.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. I mean, it
Oh, yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah.
I was it. Now let me think. Anyways, I know somebody that's had, and it's like you take her shirt off, and there's a knot under their skin
Yep.
right there. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. All right. All right.
So, in doing the research into that ICD, primarily the TICD, where they have to cut into your main, I don't know if it's the artery or main vein. Then they put two probes and electrodes into your heart. And doing the research into that and reading this article that somebody, and I'm gonna, we got these articles, we can link them in the description if you want. But basically, that this is where I started finding out the cardiac implications of alpha gal and certain
Oh,
disease.
okay. Now we're
So
putting it together. All
now
right.
we're putting, yep.
Yeah.
So I read this article to where, and through my research, I found out that people have, you know, passed away from this procedure where they're putting these ICDs into you
Yeah.
because they rely heavily on heparin,
Okay.
and heparin is a blood thinner, and that blood thinner is bovine derived.
Yeah.
And then the leads that they use, so the tool that they use to cut into your vein in order to like minimize bleeding,
Yeah.
they make that small incision. They put the leads in. That gel that they use is also bovine derived.
Derived from however they say it, from a mammal.
Derived, yep,
Yep.
derived from a cow, from a mammal.
Yep.
And so what they found was they shot up one person with heparin. They realized they shoot you up with a ton of heparin. He started going into an anaphylaxis. They're like, oh, it'll be fine. They didn't know the whole alpha gal thing. They gave him Benadryl, calmed it down a little bit. But what happened was when they cut into the vein, it caused the vein to contract and collapse, and that
Oh
was
my
it.
gosh. That
And
was
and
it,
I
huh?
and I talked to my doctor. I said, I because he wanted me to get one put in like yesterday,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and, and also I can't get one put in because I'm on prednisone and methotrexate, which are both
Yeah.
immunosuppressants.
Yeah.
And so um, it led me like, okay, now I'm finding out about the cardiac implications. Like you can't even have a life saving device implanted in you with alpha gal. So
Wow.
um, so I started
It
doing
just stacks up like dominoes. I mean, and it's like it wouldn't be so bad you didn't have the alpha gal. You could just they could do the treatment, but it just
right.
keeps stacking layer after layer, all because of a blood sucking tick.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going, Will. Keep telling us.
yeah, and just like it led me to the research that over 74% of the 100 most prescribed drugs have mammal ingredients in them. You know, so it's not
Uh,
just like which led me to talking to another doctor that told me a story about they knew of a guy who thought was having a heart attack, could have been cardiac sarcoidosis, just like me.
yeah.
Put him in the ambulance. The paramedic knew he had alpha gal, so the paramedic didn't give him any medication. Got to the ER. Guess what? They shot him up with heparin. Lights out. That's all that
That was
passed
the
away.
end.
That was it. I mean, we got to be our own advocates, man. I
We
don't
have
know.
to be right.
Yeah, I don't know if like we need to get this pushed to be a bill. We need to get this pushed in the House. We need to all write our representatives and say this needs to be listed as a federal allergy. It
Right.
needs to be pill man,
Mandatory reporting.
mandatory reporting. Pill manufacturers,
Yeah.
medical,
Food
everything.
manufacturers, everything. 100%. Yes.
I
I don't
mean,
know if you've been following Bill 578, but I have advocated for Ohio, and I have been to the state house, and I have um, done testimony in front of the House. Now the bill's in the Senate, so we're kind of a little standstill right now. But Ohio is very close to getting mandatory reporting in the state, and we need it. We need it so very bad. And with that being said, Will, I do want to put the disclaimer in there that you're not a doctor. I am
no,
not a doctor. You are telling your story, and
yeah,
that's the craziest thing about alpha gal is what could have or would have happened had you not done your own research. Not
right.
only do we have to learn our own allergy and we have to learn our bodies enough, but we do have to do that research. Don't just go to the doctor and listen to the doctor. Do it yourself. The dentist, I had to do it with the dentist. You know, no gel if you get numbing or any of the things, and that's a small thing compared to what you have going on. But at any given time, any doctor, they could make your life bad or
Yeah.
heaven forbid that they, you know, some don't care. I don't want to
Yeah.
say they don't care. I don't want to say they don't care. I take that back. They don't know and they
They
don't
don't know.
understand.
That's
They
exactly
do
right.
not understand how Alpha Gal works. The education, we need the education. Speaking of that really fast, Alpha Gal Alliance has a new homepage. Go to my Facebook page, and I've already posted a link for Alpha Gal Alliance. Um, and if you need things to take to your doctor, Sharon can she can you can send them a message. They will print you everything. If you're in a state that doesn't understand alpha gal syndrome, you send them a message and they can give you everything you need to do or every paper written down how to take to your doctor to explain what you got going on and how to test for it. So I just wanted to throw that in real fast, Will.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
tell us now, Will. So Will, I'm looking at you right now. You look good.
Hmm.
Um, you look healthy. Where are we now? I know you're taking medication like crazy,
Oh
um,
yeah.
but where are we now? And where do you see this progressing to? Um, long term.
Sure. Well, if you would have asked me this 2 months ago, the outlook would have been bleak for me. I just felt like, I mean, I couldn't even walk up this flight of stairs without going out of breath. Um, I wasn't climbing very much. I couldn't even, I was having to stop hike. Like while I was hiking in the gorge, I was having to stop every 5 seconds and catch,
Yeah,
I'd look at my heart. But starting medication, it took, with pill clarity and getting back with the Fig app, that Fig app's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Um, Using that and going 100%, just what I call the AGV, the Alpha Gal Vegan.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. AGV, I like that. Yeah,
because I'm still eating chicken and fish and eggs. Can't take
yeah.
those away from me.
You can't take them
Uh,
away, right?
so um, with doing that, going 100% AGV, my cough is gone.
Oh, good, good.
I can breathe. My heart rate's better. I mean, now this could be the prednisone and methotrexate 100%, but I'm a whole new person now.
Yeah, good,
I've
good.
got my life back. I don't.
Are they going to try to wean you off of the prednisone and the other drug as well?
Yeah, well, it's actually kind of a ramp up and a ramp down. So they're trying to wean me off prednisone. That I was on 30 milligrams a day. Um, then I moved down. I'm on 25 right now. Then that'll slowly taper as I uh, taper up the methotrexate. So, though I think it's like 50 or 60 milligrams. They want me on methotrexate. It's a chemotherapy drug, so it's not fun. I took it. My body's getting used to it. There, the first few times I took it, I mean, I'm telling you, I was like, well, I'm quitting drinking too, right?
Yeah,
So I don't drink anymore. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a kick in the butt. You
yeah,
quit drinking, but you're still hungover. You should you and yeah, I've
yeah.
been checked the methotrexate. Then the next day, I'm just as well have
Just
drank a half
yeah,
bottle of bourbon.
yeah,
But I'm doing great, man. It's night and day. But I just I want to get that out there because we don't, like I said, we don't have 20 years to link, cardiac sarcoidosis to alpha gal, just like Lyme's. They're both tick-borne pathogens. They're both coming from ticks. Um,
yeah,
if you're having, you know, breathing issues, you're having cardiac arrhythmias and issues with your heart, it doesn't hurt the push to get testing.
right, right.
The
Yeah,
more testing we have out there with people with alpha gal, if they are having issues, the more we can put this on. Because I had a, I even had a genetics test around with over 100 key markers for cardiac issues that could cause similar things. Right? They all came back negative. I don't have anything that I could inherit it that could be causing this. So
yeah,
they're just flabbergasted, and I'm like, this my life started declining after I got bit by that tick. A
yeah,
year after year after year, and I kind of equated it to getting older. I don't know. I just, I I couldn't run as fast. I couldn't climb as hard. Every year I just started going down and down and down until here recently I literally collapsed. I just kept pushing myself harder.
Sure,
And
sure.
and I just want to get that out there, as well as the other cardiac implications. I don't know if you're aware of or not, with the clotting disorders they're starting to see with alpha
Yeah, I've
gal.
been hearing some of it. Yeah, for sure. For sure, I've been hearing some.
That's the first thing. The first time I went to my cardiologist, I talked to him, and he mentioned, he's like, yeah, the only thing I've seen with alpha gal is, you know, I've talked to one person who's now had 8 stents, a young man that's had 8 stents.
And they never put it together. I mean, they
So
never.
there was Wilson out of Virginia University, um, put together a research on this issue with the cardiac implications and the clotting. And basically, to give you the 20,000 foot view, right,
Yeah,
is that um, as you're getting these exposures to alpha gal and your immune system is kicking in and you're having what's called a mast cell event, your blood vessels are dilating, they're getting bigger. And when your blood vessels are dilated, it makes it easier for that fat to penetrate the walls and to cause plaque in your arteries to build up. But
okay.
like a normal person, their arteries are always getting bigger and it's smaller. They don't do it as often as ours because ours, with the exposures, are getting bigger, right? And then
Okay.
it's able to penetrate. Um, a normal person's arteries are a little bit more stable, and it allows it to calcify, what's called a stable clot. So when it calcifies, it's a stable clot. But because our arteries with alpha gal are always kind of getting bigger and smaller, it's not able to calcify what which means it creates a unstable clot, and that
Mm,
leaves us at a higher probability of a clotting disorder and to have a
yeah.
blockage.
Oh my God,
So
man, they just keep stacking up. I tell you.
yeah.
Um, Will, I don't think many people in your shoes would have as quickly got to where you're at because of your research and your advocacy
Mhm.
of research. You just don't stop. I can tell. Um, so I'm glad you're
Especially on
where you're at.
prednisone.
Yes, yeah. Well, I used to. When I was, I don't know, a little younger, or I've mentioned before, I've had a bout with gout off and on, for a long time, and I'd get that prednisone and be like, man, that stuff is awesome, man. I feel like $1 million. I'm ready to fight
Mm-hmm.
UFC and whatever. But the older I get, I can't take it. I can't
Yeah.
take it, man. It just, it hurts my heart and
Yep.
all kinds of things. I have issues with it trying to take it, if
It
but
raises your blood pressure, blood
yeah,
sugar.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you for the research and what you've done for sure. I'm glad to see that you're doing well. Let's touch on, we mentioned a few minutes ago about reactions in the body.
Mhm.
So I have been saying this, I've been saying this since I got this stuff. How do we know? It's like, okay, I hear these people all the time say, I can't eat steak, but I can eat pork,
Mhm.
um, and I don't react. How do you know your body's not reacting? How do you know that you're something inside of your body is doing something, but your immune system is beating it down, and you just don't feel it, and you just don't know it? Now, you and I are, like I said, we are not doctors, but
Right.
we know alpha gal, and I believe you said simply still ate cheese and still ate milk and butter and all the things.
Yep.
How do we know? We don't know.
We don't.
No,
I mean, unless they had like a continuous glucose monitor that monitors your IgE, your immune reaction to
right?
certain, there's no way to tell.
There's
And
no way to tell.
unfortunately, there could be no way to tell until you're like me and your body's just been kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked up until the point where you're starting to cause it's like dominoes, man. And it's kind of how the one doctor described it, is that like if I just kept introducing the same allergen over and over and over, you just build that mast cell
Yeah,
response.
right.
And so, your body just basically can't handle it, and it can cause all sorts of different wildfires. I mean, you're just pouring a little bit of gasoline on the fire each time.
Each time. Yep.
Yep.
And I can't say I don't do it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I don't do it. Because I do. I eat cheese. I don't have I don't I can eat now. I can't eat a ton of cheese. I mean, I can't eat, but I can have pizza. I can go
Mm-hmm.
to Miguel's and order a pizza, and I don't get the vegan cheese. I get the regular cheese, and I feel fine. It doesn't bother
Mm-hmm.
me. But who's to say there is not damage being done inside of me, and my immune system's not just beating it down? You
Right.
know, because if I do eat, let's say Mexican, for instance, where I eat a real excessive amount of cheese or something like that, I'll have some GI stuff. Um, could it be just Mexican food, or could it be, I could be off a gal telling me you better quit it, pal.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
you know, we have to learn our bodies.
yeah,
So,
we do.
Will, this next thing here you was talking to me a little about, I don't want to spend a lot of time by no means, because we get into that deep dark hole like the Bill Gates and the whole thing.
Oh
But
yeah.
give us a rundown here. You have spoken with NPR. You
Yeah.
have talked with two researchers, and I'm going to say this very sarcastically. You have spoke with two researchers from West Michigan University, where these son of a guns don't know nothing about alpha gal because they live in
Mm-hmm.
Michigan and they don't have it everywhere. But explain to us what's happened, what's happening, and maybe where we can find the link to where you've seen what you've seen.
Sure, yeah. It's it's a published medical article. You can Google the beneficial bloodsuckers. Um, and it's two researchers out of Western Michigan University, and they guise this as a philosophy paper. Um, but the way I told it to NPR is, you wouldn't tell somebody how to build a pipe bomb and guise it as philosophy. It's you could
Right.
you'd get taken down on YouTube.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You wouldn't you say war is good for the environment because it reduces population. Like if you did either one of those, you'd cross the bounds of ethics, and
That's right. You went too
nobody
far.
went too far. Nobody would publish you, and you would be, you know.
Right.
But these two researchers created an article called "The Beneficial Bloodsuckers," and then they went into basically detail on how to spread it, and using CRISPR and other technologies, and how to get this impregnated in the ticks to then release it into the environment to basically make people allergic to meat in order to so people don't eat meat, so it's good for the environment. They reduce the amount of meat people are eating. And they even talk about the cardiac implications. They even talk about this could be possibly life threatening with anaphylaxis, but it's worth it.
See, it's making me mad just hearing you talk about it.
It's
So
yeah.
you read the paper and you reached out to the dean. Is that what you done?
Yeah, I reached out to the dean. I got a boilerplate email back saying it's just philosophy, and cool your
Yeah.
jet. But
Yeah.
I don't have access to CRISPR. You don't have access to CRISPR or any of these technologies, right? We're
What
not.
is CRISPR? Explain what CRISPR is. Explain that.
CRISPR is to give you I'm not, again, I'm an IT, I'm not a medical, I'm not a bioengineer. But basically what it allows you to do is alter the genes of a specific pathogen in order to make it spreadable in a tick. So they can
Okay.
alter the genes, just like they're I know they've done research on this in other countries, but yeah, you can, use CRISPR in order to edit genes to make sure your kid has blue eyes or, blonde, green,
Yeah.
whatever, green
Okay.
eyes. But we don't have access to that technology, but this world's a big place. And,
This world's a big place, right?
putting that out there, who's to say, somebody in another country doesn't have access to this? I
Yeah.
mean, they're basically giving the blueprints for bioterrorism.
Sure. Exactly right. Yeah. So the dean gave you a blow off.
Yeah.
And you talked to them. You did talk to these guys later, or just we go from there to NPR? What happened?
No, I just went there to NPR and had a interview with them. I don't know where that'll go, but they had some pushback too, because I laid out the cardiac implications. I laid out, I've almost died from this once. I've been hospitalized twice. I'm now having heart issues. I have no medical history of heart issues up until the point where I was diagnosed with alpha gal. I had liver, lung, then heart. And it took them 20 years to make that connection with Lyme's disease, with cardiac sarcoidosis. I'm like, there's not a diagnosis. And they're like, oh, well, if there's not a diagnosis, then there's probably not a connection, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but I have no other issues but this now. Like,
Yeah.
alpha gal and now this. And, you know, it was rare for me to have this,
Yeah.
like I said, with, and I'm like, we don't, but that's what I'm saying. We don't have 20 years to wait around. This is something we all have to be our own advocates. And,
Yeah. Right.
the alpha gal is so different than every other individual. And we just don't know anything yet. It's,
Right.
we're at the tip of the iceberg is, you know,
Yeah. We are definitely in the infant stages here. For sure. For sure. Um, I sure wish we was farther along too, because
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it makes me it makes me think about what I do eat more. I mean, I've got my allergy figured out to the point where I can eat, I know what I can eat, and I know that I can feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said earlier, I've been thinking for a very long time, what kind of damage am I doing that I
Mm-hmm.
don't know that I'm doing? For instance, just like what happened to you, you know, how many of us out there, how many people out there with alpha gal that are getting to where you got and don't know, they don't do the research like you do. And
Mm-hmm.
heaven forbid where they end up,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had the answers. I wish I had the answers. I sure don't. Um,
And
Will,
just throw
anything
this
you
out.
want? Go ahead.
Yeah. Um, like I told you, I was looking for a house down in the red. I'm still looking for a house in the red.
Yeah.
Um, had some good
Any
leads
luck?
this weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah, had
did
some
you?
good leads. I'm looking now in Campton.
Yeah.
Campton's a beautiful little town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still some good because I was looking at spending 500 mid 500,000s for a
Yeah.
place in the red. And that's just
Yeah.
like it just makes my palm it's making my palms sweat right now talking about spending that much
Yeah.
money. Like, could
Yeah.
I? Yes, but do I want to? No. But
Right.
talking to the realtor that was showing me the houses, I don't know how this came up. It usually comes up. My wife just kind of like walks away when it comes up, the meat
Yeah.
allergy. And he
Yeah.
goes, my wife was just diagnosed with this yesterday.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That was
Yeah.
on Friday. And man, me and him talked we were walking this property and we were talking that one was I went out looked at was it I think it was 13.6 acres and 47 acres and then 8 acres with houses on them. And man, I looked down, there's 6 ticks crawling up. Oh, that's how it got brought up. I looked down, 6 ticks
Oh,
got crawling up each leg. I said, make sure you keep those guys off you. They're Lone Stars. You could be allergic to the red meat because
yeah.
my wife was just diagnosed yesterday with alpha gal,
Yeah.
and I was like, and me and him, we spent about an over an hour talking about everything we just talked about, the
Yeah.
things you need to watch out for. There's just no, they basically said avoid red meat, send her on her way.
See, that's what they told me. And
Yeah.
I quote, stop eating cheeseburgers. That's what he told me in the very beginning, you son of a gun. But he didn't know. It's Ohio, doctor. He had no idea. So
Right.
turn old boy on to the podcast. I'm hoping you already
Will
did
do.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but so you're looking into red. That's my place is it's a Campton address. It's
Oh,
on
nice.
yeah, it's just it's a mile back to the west on 15, just out of on 15 out of Campton. So we
Okay.
run up. We need groceries or whatever. We run up to the Campton Save a Lot and stuff like that. So we're about take for instance Miguel's. We're about 15 minutes to Miguel's parking lot. So
Mhm.
yeah. And for the listeners, once again, Will's talking about the Red River Gorge. I think I mentioned the gorge on every single podcast. It seems
Yeah.
like. Um, yeah, I don't know. I got to get back down, and we got some rocking chairs for the front porch. I got to get back down, and get them put together. Maybe next week I'll get down, but you can go to you can go to our Facebook page, Will. It's called Hemlock Hill and Acorn Ridge at Red River Gorge. Um, but go to our Facebook page and hit the like button. That's our two cabins down there.
Yeah.
Um, we rent them through. We use a management company. We use Red River Gorge Vacations. They're out of sight, man. They are absolutely out of sight. Sandra, the manager, is wonderful. The cleaning crews, the maintenance guys, man, they really care about my property, and I appreciate them a lot for that.
Nice.
But in the back of our property, ours is in Sunset Valley,
Mhm.
and there's a development behind us that's kind of a little bit more in the infant stages called Victory Falls. But there's a few cabins in there that I know is for sale, and there's a few builders in there that are building right now too.
Nice.
Um, so, but Will, so what about climbing? Have you been climbing?
Oh yeah, Friday I went out when I got down there. Didn't have much time, got out. Just did 3 or 4 climbs, and then Saturday after the showings, got out. Did 3 or 4 more climbs. Both me and the wife. But 3 or 4
Good.
pitches after looking at houses all day. Then
Yeah.
right now heading
Good.
back to Miguel's. We're camping on the backside of their property in the camper van, so it's nice and
Yeah.
quiet. But hopefully we'll have that house here soon. I'll be living down there full time, climbing full time, and having the time of my life. So
I'm looking forward to that for you.
yeah.
4th of July. Did you see local honeys are playing at Miguel's on the 4th? Um,
Really.
Yeah, yeah, which is going to be awesome. Awesome. I love the local honeys. They're out of sight. I think they play an early set or not call them early set. They're from 8 to 9,
Hmm.
somewhere like that, I think. And then they're going to have fireworks at dusk. And then they do a late set from like 10 to 11 or something like that. So yeah, my wife and I might try to make it down for the 4th. I live on a little lake here in Ohio, Lake Lochengrin, and we have fireworks Friday night on the lake. But we're thinking that we really might get up Saturday morning and head down to the gorge so we can see the local honeys at Miguel's. So,
Yeah.
but if you make it down, shoot me a text and
Who did?
we'll get to meet face to face. And um, I won't buy you a beer because you don't drink anymore. But
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
So,
But
anything else you'd like to add, Will, before we get off of here?
no, I think just everybody just needs to keep an eye out on their situation. Listen to your body.
Listen to
Um,
your body
and
for sure.
you know, be careful about your medications, what you're taking, pillclarity.org, and other, sources. And yeah, just be
Yeah.
vigilant, be your own advocate, push.
We have to be, man. That's just the thing. We have to be for sure. So, Will, man, I appreciate you coming back on a second time. Let's do this. This is, let's see, this is June.
Hmm.
Um, let's you and I do this again. I'd like to follow up with you in the wintertime. I'd like to hear that you're back off medications, and I'd like to hear that, I don't know, maybe you're doing more natural something, you're figuring things out. Speaking
Mhm,
of that, you turned me on to NAC because we talked about the fatty liver. Um,
mhm,
I haven't started it yet, but I tell you what I'm doing is I'm doing a natural. I'm trying a natural a cleanse with blueberries,
mhm.
cinnamon. I'm going to try this for a while, um, and before I start taking any supplements or anything. But I've really looked into the NAC. I think it's definitely what I need. But I'm going to try some natural stuff for a while first.
Mhm.
I've already started this blueberry and cinnamon regiment. And it's just, take me a big shake. It's
Oh,
smoothie pretty
nice.
much every
Yeah,
day, and man, I mix them, and man, it tastes really good. So I chug it, throw it back,
nice.
um, but I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. I'm not really scheduled to go back to the doctor. I had this goal to be down so far in weight by turkey season. I said in the last episode, I didn't quite make it. I made it about
Mhm.
halfway. But I think it's going to be better for me to not lose it so fast, to lose it a little slower. I mean, it's not like I'm heavy. I'm just over 200 pounds, but I probably should be 190 or something like that at least. So that's where I'm heading. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna just try some natural things. So I hope to follow up with you maybe in the winter. We can hear some good reports from you then.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a another cardiac PET scan done in November, so we could probably look at end of November, maybe beginning of December,
Sounds
get
great.
back in
Yeah,
touch. And yeah, they call it NAC. It's a precursor to glutathione. As well, another supplement that's good to take with that is glycine, which they normally call that supplement combination Glynac,
yeah,
because glycine comes in with NAC. We used to get a lot of glycine in our diet back in the day because we used to eat nose to tail.
right,
Well, being an alpha gal, you don't have access unless you're doing fish collagen.
right.
You don't have access to a whole lot of collagen, and you're not. I don't know about you, but I'm not eating chicken knuckles.
No, right, right.
Um,
Yeah,
so glycine, NAC is good if you come into the hospital ER with Tylenol overdose. They give you NAC. Basically, it's like a steroid for your liver. It allows your liver just to go into, it produces glutathione, which helps your liver clean your body out of,
yeah,
all that good stuff and flush it.
yeah,
There's been studies linking NAC supplementation to treat fatty liver disease. So when I did all that research, because I started taking NAC actually when I started having the coughing issues, and NAC is used for lung issues too. So I
yeah.
started taking it for that. And then I didn't connect the dots till later that after I started taking NIC, my liver enzyme dropped from 80 to like 12.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then when I'm taking the 50 units of methotrexate now every week, and they're gonna say, well, your liver enzymes are gonna, slowly
Spike.
spike, but they'll, once your body gets used to it, it'll come back down. And my liver enzymes, my ALT is 14 and my AST is 15 still with
They never went
injecting.
up. Yeah,
Never went up, but I'm doing heavy. I'm doing an NAC in the morning and NAC and glycine in the night. 600 milligrams in the morning, 600 milligrams of
yeah,
NAC at night with an additional 3 milligrams of glycine. And that's my stack right now, as well as folic acid and B12 because of the
yeah,
methyltrexate. But
yeah.
um, yeah,
Well, that's the route I'll take. If the blueberries don't help, that's
yeah,
definitely the route I'll be taking. But yeah, it's that cholesterol fat inside of
hmm
us. You know what I mean? It just gets around
yeah,
your organs. I mean, some people are going to be walking around thin and have so much of that cholesterol fat inside of them that it's just bad on your organs.
yeah,
I think that's a lot about what's got me for sure. But anyways, Will, man, I greatly appreciate you coming back on. I'm glad to see you're doing well. Glad to see you're climbing, and I'm looking forward to running into you at the gorge for sure. For sure.
yeah.
So I'm going to hit this. I don't know how long we've been on. We've been on for a while here. I'm going to
Yeah.
hit the record button and shut us off here. So hang on just a second. Thanks for tuning in to Alpha Gal Outdoorsman. Make sure to hit that follow button. And until we meet again, wear your tick repellent.